राधा माधव कुंज विहारी जय राधा माधव कुंज विहारी गोपीजन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी जय गोपीजन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी यशोदानंदन व्रजजनरंजन जमुना तीरा जमुना तीरा जय राधा माधव कुंज विहारी जय राधा माधव कुंज विहारी Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Gaur Premanande Hari Hari. Jayom Vishnupad Paramhansha Parivrajukacharya Ashtottara Shatoshi Srimad Abhay Charanaruvinda Bhakti Vedanta Swami Prabhupada Ki Jai. Jayom Vishnupad Paramhansha Parivrajukacharya Ashtottara Shatoshi Srimad Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Ki Jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnav Vrinda Ki Jai. नामाचार्य शिल हरिदास ठाकुर की जय. प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासदि गौर भक्त वृंद की जय. श्री श्री राधा कृष्ण गोपीनाथ श्याम कुंड राधा कुंड गिरि गोवर्धन की जय. श्री वृंदावन धाम की जय. श्री मथुरा धाम की जय. श्री जगन्नाथपुरी धाम की जय. श्री मायापुर नवद्वीप धाम की जय. गंगा माई की जय. जमुना माई की जय. भक्ति देवी की जय. तुलसी महारानी की जय. हरिनाम संकीर्तन की जय. समवेत भक्त वृंद की जय. गौर प्रेमानंदे हरि हरि बोल. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Sri Guru and Sri Gauranga. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pristhaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunnavadi Paschattam Srila Prabhupada Ki. Can you switch off this? And Mother Rukmini, please sit on a chair. There is a chair for you given. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naranchaiva Narottamam Deving Sarasating Vyasam Tato Jaya Mudiraye. Nashta Prayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya. Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki. Hare Krishna. So once again, welcome to all of you to this retreat in New Vrindavan, in Gitanagari. We had a indoctrinating session last night, but I can see that many of you have come late. So thank you all very much for coming. And I'm sure you're going to very much enjoy this retreat. And especially this time, we have His Grace Rabindra Sarup Prabhu and Her Grace Mother Rukmini also to enlighten us. And so take advantage of the devotee association, especially senior devotee association is very, very important and very beneficial for our spiritual progress. Satang prashangan mama virja samvida. In the association of exalted devotees, we get to hear the very powerful activities of Krishna, the very powerfully enlivening activities of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, which actually enlivens our hearts and enlighten our ears and all the senses. Bhavanti ritkarna rashayana katha. And as a result of that, tajjoshanadashu apavarga patmani. As a result of that, very quickly, we become free from the influence of the material nature that eventually leads to death. Materialistic existence, no matter how glorious it is, ultimately it just ends into death. And it is a life of distress. Materialistic existence is a very, very distressful existence leading to the ultimate distress of death. But by hearing Krishna Katha from exalted devotees, enlightened souls, self-realized devotees, we become free from material bondage. And not only we become free from material bondage, we develop our attachment to Krishna. We develop Shraddha, we develop faith in Krishna. Then Rati, we develop attachment to Krishna. And we develop bhakti or devotion to Krishna. And that is the ultimate goal of life. The ultimate goal of life, the ultimate goal of human form is to develop Krishna consciousness. Although there are 8 million different species of life, out of them the human life, human form only, gives us the opportunity to develop our consciousness. Others don't have that facility. They can't develop their consciousness. They're stuck in either in a covered consciousness state or in a shrunken consciousness state. But when one gets a human form of life, he gets the opportunity to expand his consciousness. Just as a bud has the ability to bloom into a flower. Although bud is a small little thing, but eventually it has the ability to bloom into flower. Similarly, human consciousness has the ability to bloom into flower, bloom into full consciousness, fully developed consciousness. But the criteria for the development, just as a bud, especially a lotus bud, needs 2 factors to bloom. One is the light of the sun, rays of the sun, and the shelter of the water. If the sun is not there, the lotus won't bloom. And if the lotus is not in the shelter of water, the same sun will dry the lotus out, lotus bud. Therefore, these 2 factors are essential for a lotus bud to bloom. And similarly, the human consciousness in the budding state needs these 2 factors. One is exposure to Krishna, who has been compared to the sun, and the shelter of a bona fide spiritual master, who has been compared to the water. So these 2 factors are essential. And when one gets these 2 supports or 2 advantages, exposure to Krishna with the shelter of a bona fide spiritual master, then his consciousness begins to bloom. Otherwise, there is no difference between a human being and an animal. Animal is in a shrunken state of consciousness, and the human consciousness also is in a shrunken state. A bud is in a shrunken state. And therefore it is said that human beings, unless they come to the platform of Krishna consciousness, they are in a sort of animal platform. And they do what the animals also do. They may do it in a rather sophisticated way, little more sophisticated way, but the propensities are the same. Ahara, nidra, bhaya, maithunancha. Eating, sleeping, mating, defending. And although the human beings may do it in a sophisticated way, but the animals can do it better. Sleeping. Human beings have problems sleeping nowadays. Therefore they have to take medicines, they have to take drugs, they have to take intoxicants. But a bear continuously sleeps for 6 months. No problem. So, we have to understand that the purpose of human life is higher than these animal propensities. Rather, the objective of human life is to overcome these animal propensities. This eating, sleeping, mating, defending has its objective, has its purpose, but they should be properly utilized. Yes, body needs food to eat. Eat Krishna Prasad. Sleep, yes, sleep. Sleep to rejuvenate your body so that you can become engaged in Krishna's service. Mating, the purpose of mating is procreation. That is the divine arrangement. The need for a man and woman to get together is simply for the sake of procreation. And yes, we have to defend ourselves from different material calamities, natural calamities, and other kinds of danger. And the best way to do that is by taking shelter of Krishna's lotus feet. Eating, the purpose of eating is to have Krishna Prasad. Sleeping is to dream about Krishna. Mating for the sake of producing Krishna conscious children. And defending, take shelter of Krishna's lotus feet as the most wonderful shelter. And in the association of devotees, we become aware of these objectives and develop our Krishna consciousness, Krishna prema, love for the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So, for our Bhagavatam class, we decided to have to discuss about prayers of Queen Kunti. These prayers in Srimad Bhagavatam are very important because these prayers are offered to the Lord by the self-realized souls, by the pure devotees of the Lord. Those who know the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and these prayers are actually their expressions of their understanding of the Lord's identity and the reaction as a result of that. Prayers of Queen Kunti is so important that Prabhupada himself sung those prayers and it was recorded. Prabhupada is offering the prayers of Queen Kunti. And these prayers are so beautiful. And Prabhupada gave a class on these prayers of Queen Kunti in 1973 in Los Angeles. And although these prayers are from the Srimad Bhagavatam, these prayers are 26 verses from the first canto, 8th chapter of Srimad Bhagavatam. And Queen Kunti, Krishna is about to leave. Bhagavatam is describing the battle of Kurukshetra is over. Yudhishthir Maharaj has been reinstated on the throne of this planet. He is ruling the whole earth, entire earth planet. And then he is now ruling over the earth planet, being supported by his illustrious brothers. And now Krishna felt that now mission has been accomplished. Now let me go back. I have been away from Dwarka for a long time. So Krishna is about to leave. When Krishna is about to leave, Queen Kunti is offering, requesting Krishna to stay a little longer. And this is the prayer of Queen Kunti. And here we also must remember that Krishna is actually Queen Kunti's nephew. Krishna's father is Queen Kunti's elder brother. Vasudeva and Kunti are the son and daughter of King Surasena. Surasena had a cousin and a very, very intimate friend called King Kunti Bhoj. So Kunti Bhoj didn't have any children. So Vasudeva told him that, okay, next time I get a child, I'll offer the child to you. Vasudeva was already born. Surasena told, Vasudeva is born, Surasena told Kunti Bhoj, then my next child I'll offer to you. And so next child was Kunti. So he offered her to him. And Kunti Bhoj brought her up with wonderful arrangement and affection. And because she was brought up or adopted by King Kunti Bhoj, she got the name Kunti. Her original name actually was Pritha. Therefore, Arjun is called Partha, Pritha Putra. The son of Pritha is Partha. So Kunti was assigned to the responsibility when she was a little girl. She was assigned to the responsibility to take care of the guests in the palace. And sometimes the king would engage her children in that way to take care of the guests. And so Kunti Bhoj assigned Kunti this responsibility. And she was so good at it that everybody was extremely pleased with her, including even Durvasha. Durvasha is a very, very angry sage. I mean, just little mistake, he would curse. Like he was known for his cursing propensity. Any mistake, and even if he didn't find any mistake, he would curse. So everyone used to be very, very afraid of him. But Kunti took care of Durvasha so nicely that while leaving, Durvasha gave her a boon, gave her a blessing, benediction. That although he is expert in cursing, but he also sometimes gave benediction. Abhishap and Bada. Badam deva mokshan na moksha vadhimba. My Lord, you are very expert in giving boons, Badam. all the way up to liberation. In Damodarashtakam we sing that. Krishna can give benedictions like that. So similarly, exalted personalities can give boons, exceptional boons. And actually these personalities, no matter how they apparently appear to be, like angry or giving curse and so forth, but these are actually their role that they are playing in the affairs of the material nature. Actually, these personalities could see what would happen in future. And these boons or curses are something like prediction of what would happen. And giving them some sort of support to properly execute that situation, properly deal with that situation. So, Durvasha actually knew what would happen to Kunti. Because these personalities are Trikalagya, Trikaladarshi. They can see time in its three aspects. They can see the past, they can see the present, they can see the future. So Durvasha could see what would happen to Kunti. That Pandu, her husband, would be cursed, and she would not have any child from him, her husband. Therefore there was a need to have some children in some way. Therefore Durvasha gave him the boon. You can have a child through a demigod. Whoever you want, you can call. So little girl couldn't probably understand the purport or the purpose of this or the effect of this boon. So she playfully, while looking out of the window, palace window, seeing the sun, she thought, let me try it out, whether it works. Out of childish curiosity, she invited sun god to come after chanting the mantra. And Suryadev came. Sun god came. Sun planet is not empty. Sun planet is inhabited by very, very exalted personalities, and the head of those personalities is Sun God, the ruler of the Sun planet. And in this Manvantar, who is the ruler of the Sun planet? Vivashwan. So he came. And so he told her the purpose of his coming. She became very worried that if I get a child, I am unmarried, and if I get a child, that will be such a disgrace. So Sun God said, okay, since I came, my purpose of my coming is not going to go in vain. It is bound to happen. The result is bound to happen. You'll get a child, but your virginity will not be affected by that. The child will be born through your ears, through your ear. And a child was born. Because he came through her ears, therefore, his name was Karna. And in due course of time, Kunti was married to King Pandu, another illustrious personality. He's actually the son of Vasudeva. Also, his birth also was quite unusual. Anyway, I don't want to get too much into Mahabharata. But this wonderful personality was married to Kunti. But unfortunately, he was cursed. While hunting in the forest, he shoot at a deer, shooting arrow at a deer, But this deer was actually a sage. He was uniting with his wife in the form of a deer. These personalities could change their form. So a human being, very exalted sage with inconceivable mystic power, but unfortunately he was killed by King Pandu while he was uniting with his wife. And he cursed him that when you unite with any woman, you will die. And as a result of that, Pandu left his kingdom because it's very difficult to maintain, rather to remain a celibate in a royal palace, because there are so many allurements and temptations. The whole environment is so provocating. So, in order to remain fixed up and not have anything to do, not to have any relationship with a woman, along with his wife he went to the forest, the Himalayas, with his two wives, Kunti and Madri. And so they were living in a forest, not forest actually, up in the Himalayan mountains, near Badrik Ashram. Generally saintly people used to stay away from crowded places. So they used to lead their saintly life, cultivating their spiritual propensities in the solitude of the mountain or forest. Not just forest. In the forest they would create a very beautiful garden on the bank of a river. Therefore they are called Tapoban. The garden for performing austerities. So anyway, Pandu was there, and one day Pandu suggested to Kunti that she begets some children, begets a child through one of the sages, exalted brahmanas there. Kunti didn't like the idea at all. And then finally she actually told Pandu about the boon she had from Durvasha. And then Pandu suggested that she invites some of the demigods, one of the demigods, to come and give her a child. So she considered, rather they together considered Dharmaraj, Jamraj. Jamraj is the one who upholds dharma, the path of righteousness. Now the consideration was the first child will be a king, and the king has to be very fair and just and situated on the path of dharma. So as a result of that, Yudhishthira Maharaj was born. Then Pandu asked Kunti to have another son, because the king needs to be protected by a powerful general. So who is the most powerful of the demigods? Pavan Dev. And as a result of that, Bhima was born. They wanted to have Pandu wanted to have another child. And as a result of that, Arjun was born through the influence of King Indra. Then Pandu wanted to have some more children. Kunti said, enough. I have 3, I have enough. But then they considered, let Madri also have the benefit of having children. And as a result of that, Madri, but Kunti told that, okay, I'll allow her to use the mantra, but once, only once. So Madri thought that I'll have the facility to use the mantra only once, but it is preferable to have more than one children. So she invited the twin demigods, Ashwini Kumar. And as a result of that, Nakul and Sahadev were born. So these are the 5 children of Pandu, known as Pandavas. Pandu's sons, therefore Pandavas. Pancha. Pancha means 5. 5 sons of Pandu. Then unfortunately, during one springtime, Pandu got afflicted with the influence of Cupid, and he became attracted to Madri. Madri tried to stop him, knowing well about the curse, but Pandu completely forgot, and as a result of that, Pandu died. So the Pandavas were brought to Hastinapur, and they grew up, but they grew up in a very, very adverse situation. Dhritarashtra, the elder brother, the eldest son, generally in the Vedic culture, the eldest son inherits the father's property. Generally they are not divided as it is being done nowadays. 5 sons, father's property is divided into 5. And we can see that. And this way the property begins to diminish. One property, one house with 5 rooms, then 5 sons, okay, 5 sons get 5 rooms. But then when they get 25 sons, then it's impractical. So in the Vedic culture, the thing is the eldest brother inherits the father's property, father's legacy, and the other brothers live together with him, giving him the support. So Dhritarashtra was meant to become the king, but because he was blind, he could not become the king. And he had a hope that, well, he couldn't become the king, but maybe his son would be able to become the king. But unfortunately, before Dhritarashtra's children were born, the news came that Kunti gave birth to a son. So therefore Yudhishthira became now the successor to the throne, because he was elder in the family. Gandhari became so upset with the news. She was pregnant, but the pregnancy was not maturing. The child was not being born. So for a long time went by, but the child didn't come out. And when she got the news, she hit her abdomen so hard that she had a miscarriage. And what came out is a lump of flesh, hard, solid as iron. It was about to be thrown away, but then Vasudev came and he suggested that this is put into pieces, 101 pieces, and he kept it in a pot in water. And as a result of that, in course of time, 101 children were born, 100 sons and 1 daughter. And the eldest one was Duryodhana. Anyway, here Dhritarashtra's desire to have his son become the king also failed. And then when the Pandavas came, there was a direct conflict, sort of. Duryodhana saw them as his arch enemy, that because of them he couldn't become the king. Even as a child, he had such a vicious mentality. And Bhima was extremely powerful. Bhima was extremely powerful, and while playing, the more powerful one often becomes a bully. And Bhima was a bully. Like when they would go swimming, he would just pull them underwater or push them underwater. They would have a tough time dealing with him. Sometimes they would climb up a tree and Bhima would shake the tree and they would fall from the tree. And so Duryodhana decided to get rid of Bhima. Even as a child, we can see how crooked he was, how envious and how vindictive he was. So he arranged for a picnic on the bank of the Ganges, bank of Jamuna, and there while they were there playing, Duryodhana got Bhima, allured Bhima to a solitary place and told him that, Bhima, I got some delicious prasadam for you, delicious sweets for you. And Bhima was fond of eating, very fond of eating. So, and this poison was actually these sweets were actually mixed with the most deadly poison, the poison of king cobra. And so Bhima just ate a lot of these sweets. After all, they were although poisonous, but they were tasting very nice. So he ate them and he became unconscious. So when he became unconscious, they tied him by hands and feet and threw him in the river. Now, there is a saying that when Krishna protects, who can kill? And when Krishna wants to kill, who can protect? So Bhima, then he drowned in Jamuna. But he went to the lower region of Nagaloka, where the serpents reside. And he fell on a group of serpents, snakes, while they were playing. They didn't like something falling on them, so they started to bite him. Now see, he was poisoned with Kalkut, which is the poison of king cobra. And now he has been bitten by the snakes. So what happened? It acted as an antidote. So he came to his senses. So he didn't like that the snakes were biting him. So he snapped his hands and feet open and started to kill all the snakes. The news reached the king of the snakes, Nagraj, Vasuki. And Vasuki came and he recognized Bhima as his distant grandchild. There is some relationship between Kunti and, or rather Surasen and this family. So he took Bhima to the palace and he gave him the nectar to drink. And Bhima drank 7 pots of nectar. Tasted very good. So he drank these 7 pots of nectar and he slept for 7 days after that. Now these 7 pots of nectar gave him the strength of 10,000 elephants. Even as a child, Bhima had the strength of 10,000 elephants. As it is, he was strong, and now he has become even stronger. Duryodhana wanted to get rid of him, but now he is coming back, becoming much stronger than before. So this is how we saw how Krishna time and time again protected the Pandavas, his illustrious devotees. So Queen Kunti, although Krishna is her nephew, but Queen Kunti is offering obeisances to him. It's unusual in Vedic culture. In Vedic culture, the juniors offer obeisances to seniors. The seniors never, it's not befitting for a senior to offer respect to a junior, especially obeisance. But here we are seeing that Queen Kunti is offering obeisances to Krishna. Why? Because she is not seeing Krishna as her nephew. Although that relationship is there, but she is seeing Krishna as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So this is how the prayer actually is beginning. Is the 18th verse of the 8th chapter of the first canto. Kunti uvacha namashe purusham tvaddam ishvaram prakrite param alaksham sarvabhutanam antarbahir avasthitam. What a beautiful prayer. Namasye. Namasye means I offer my obeisances. Who unto whom? Purusham. The Purusham to Adyam. Adyam means original or the supreme. Supreme Purusha, not just an ordinary Purusha, ordinary individual. I offer my obeisances to the original Supreme Personality of Godhead. And who is Ishvaram Param? He is the Supreme Controller. Ishvaram Prakrite Param, and he is beyond this material nature. Alaksham Sarva Bhutana. Although he is unseen, he is not seen by anyone. Sarva Bhutana. He is unseen, invisible to all living entities, but antar bahir avasthitam. He is situated both inside and outside. Inside of every living entity and outside of every living entity. Srimati Kunti said, O Krishna, I offer my obeisances unto you because you are the original personality and are unaffected by the qualities of the material world. You are existing both within and without everything, yet you are invisible to all. So this is how the prayers are beginning. The first 6 verses are actually establishing Krishna's, it's just prayers, glorifying Krishna, establishing his identity as the Supreme Personality of God. Then the 7th and 8th verse is actually describing how Krishna always protected them through all kinds of calamities. It is one important thing to note that the life of a devotee often apparently appears to be full of calamities and difficulties and distresses. Therefore, sometimes people develop a misconception that if you become a devotee, then there will be difficulties in your life. But we have to understand that these apparent difficulties are there in order for Krishna to protect his devotees. If the danger is not there, then where is the question of protection? If the life is happy and honky-dory, then what's the point in, where is the question of protection? Only when we are in danger, then there is a question of protection. Now Krishna wants to show the world how he protects his devotees. Therefore, the devotees are often put into difficulties and danger, so that the world can see how Krishna protects his devotees. Now, when one is faced with that situation, it's extremely dangerous. It's extremely frightening. But that's another quality of a devotee. He simply depends upon Krishna. He doesn't try to defend himself or try to rectify the situation himself. He just submits himself. That is a sign of a pure devotee. And there are so many such examples. The one that comes to my mind is Jara Bharat. Just consider, Jara Bharat has been taken by the dacoits. They caught him and now they want to slaughter him. Now they want to kill him as an offering to Kali. Can you imagine the situation? Just imagine yourself, you have been caught by a bunch of terrorists and now they want to kill you. But is Jara Bharat pleading to them not to kill him? Is Jara Bharat trying to defend himself or trying to escape? No. He is just completely surrendered. Whatever maro bhi rakho bhi jo ichha tumhara. They put him into the jupa kashta for, it's a U-shaped wooden frame which can be locked up with another piece of wood. They secure the neck in that and then lock it up through another piece of wood running through the holes, so that the neck doesn't move at the time of killing. So they put him into that situation. They're about to chop his head off. Jara Bharat was totally unperturbed, but Kali could not tolerate that. She appeared from her murti. She picked up the chopper from that guy's hand and she started to kill all those dacoits. So this is how Krishna and Krishna's devotees protect. So devotees are put into difficulties by the arrangement of Yogamaya. And eventually that becomes an opportunity for Krishna to save him. So Pandavas went through so many difficulties, but time and time again Krishna saved them. And through that we actually learn the benefit of being surrendered to Krishna. Then we become confident. Abhashya rakhibe Krishna vishwas palam. We become confident that Krishna will positively help me, positively save me. Rakshive Krishna. Krishna will positively save me. Now, on my part, let me become a devotee. And if Krishna doesn't save me, that's my bad luck. I could become a devotee. So that is how a devotee looks at it. Another thing is that what Krishna will actually save. Will Krishna save our body or Krishna will save our soul? What's the point in saving the body but losing the soul? On the other hand, what's the loss in losing the body but gaining the soul? In that respect, we can consider just like a doctor. The doctor, while treating a patient, does he save his shirts and coat? And does he save his dress or he saves his body? Saving the dress is the business of a tailor. If we want our dress to be saved or cured, then we go to a tailor. But when we want to cure the body, we go to a doctor. Similarly, when we want to save our soul, we go to Krishna. Now sometimes the doctor, in order to operate quickly, he may tear open the shirt, right, to reach to the. So similarly, in order to reach to our soul, sometimes Krishna may tear our body to reach to the soul. It may happen. But our business is to simply depend upon Krishna that He will protect. And through these prayers of Queen Kunti, that becomes so wonderfully demonstrated. Thank you all very much. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Does anybody have any question or comment? Yes? Give. Yeah, the last part I couldn't hear.
No.
Kunti
Got the blessing from the Goswami for herself to use the mantra and invoke.
Yeah, she could also give it to others.
That
That's what the Madhuri, that's how she gave it to Madhuri. The mantra was there. Once you get the mantra, you can give it to another qualified person. Like as a disciple, you get the mantra from your guru. Then you becoming a guru, you have to give the mantra to your disciples. Okay. Any other question? Yes. Ankit?
As you mentioned about saving the soul, but soul is indestructible, so is that the act of saving the relationship between Krishna and us?
Yeah. Saving the soul means curing it from its material conditioning. The soul is there, but now the soul has lost its spiritual identity, right? And we are identifying ourselves with this material nature. Forgetting the soul, we are identifying our body to be the self. And what Krishna does is Krishna revives us in our spiritual identity. So that is the meaning of saving the soul. Soul is already lost. It's in a lost condition. Krishna saves the soul by reinstating us in our spiritual identity. Yes.
Is Queen Kunti...
Take the, so that everybody can hear.
I was wondering about, you were mentioning that Queen Kunti, it's unusual for a senior to offer respect to a junior. And I was wondering about her mood. Is it, did she also have a maternal mood towards Krishna, or was it like more on reverence?
Very good. You see, in general, the relationship between the devotee and the Lord is based on awe and reverence. Only in Vrindavan there is some anomaly, right? But in Vaikuntha or in other region, the understanding is there that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and the approach and to Him is full of awe and reverence. Now here, although Kunti has a relationship with Krishna, like for example Devaki and Vasudeva, father and mother, but in Dwarka they can't deal with Krishna as father and mother because that awareness is there that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Kunti's relationship with Krishna is little more, what should I say, little more informal. But still, as we are seeing through the prayers, that it's there. That awe and reverence is there. Yeah.
Maharaj, in one of the prayer, Kunti says Krishna that he is the Lord of impoverished. So what does that mean?
Akinchana Gochara, yeah. The thing is, as long as we are affected by a false ego, we won't be able to approach Krishna. But when we become completely exhausted, our possessions, and become completely devoid of our false ego, then only we will be able to see Krishna. Okay, thank you all very much.